Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to this HTML and CSS Bootcamp. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's session, and I hope you will enjoy today's session equally as well. Good evening to all of you from all parts of India. Yeah, we had a little bit of technical glitch, but now we are on. Hello. Okay, let's get started. Before any ado, good evening, Gangam. Let me share my screen. Hello, Azmil, how are you? My screen should be visible to you. The agenda for today. This is the agenda for today. Good evening, Nilesh. So we are going to talk about CSS in detail today. What are CSS selectors? Then we are going to talk about some properties, background, font, properties on border, list, text. We are going to discuss in detail the tricks of margin and padding. Then we are going to discuss about opacity, visibility, the difference between them, pseudo classes, what they are, pseudo elements, how you can get stuck in tricky questions in pseudo classes, what are block and inline elements, and at the end we will discuss the topic which we touched on yesterday, that is semantic elements. And if time permits, well, this is not all, this is not exhaustive. If time permits, if we have time, we will give an intro to Flex. I hope you guys are excited. Let's get started. Just like yesterday, I'm going to create HTML and CSS files. So I'm going to create selectors HTML and selectors CSS. Right? Two files, selector HTML, selector CSS. Grid, Gangam, if time permits today, otherwise tomorrow. I don't think we will have much time. Don't worry, we will cover grid today or tomorrow. But we will. So in my HTML, I have a div with a heading inside and two headings outside that div. A pretty simple structure, right? Selectors. What exactly are selectors? Selectors is the way you grab elements from the HTML to apply styling on them in the CSS. Those are known as selector. Yesterday, we did something like this. P and curly brace. P was also selector. Yeah, nice to see you too, Ejaz. P, this paragraph, this is also a selector. Div, all the HTML tags, any HTML tag that you write, those are selectors as well. You can write body, I think we used it yesterday. You can write HTML, you can write H2, right? These are selectors. Why, Gangnam? Why should I change my theme from dark to light? Do you have a particular reason about it for it? If I write H2, if I give it a color, color, let's say red, right? If I go to the browser and see what happens, you can see all the three headings in color red, right? What if I only want this heading in red, the heading inside div? And vice versa, what if I want only the headings which are outside the div in red color? I don't want all the headings in red color, right? I hope you're getting my question. Let's say I only want this heading in red color. If I write like this, H2, it will tell the browser that color red all the H2s in your web page, right? So I want only this heading in red color. For that, I will have to provide it something unique. You don't need to memorize color codes, Asmil. 5 codes, yes, you have to memorize only 5: red, green, blue, black, and white. Nothing else. Red, green, blue, black, and white. You should memorize it. These should be on your fingertips. Other than this, nothing. Yes, if I want color on only this H2, I will have to separate it from the other H2 on the page. You can do this in 2 ways: by using either a class or by using an ID. Class and ID are used to make any HTML tag unique. What I wanted this H2 to be different from these H2, this H2 to be unique. You can do this with the help of an ID or a class. So let's say if I provided an ID and give it a name red heading. In my CSS now, instead of this, what I can do, hash. Hash is used to denote headings. To denote IDs, my mistake, sorry. And if I had used class here, if I would have used class here, you can denote class using dots. Let's say if we had a class red heading, I could have given it color red like so. IDs and classes, these are also selectors. Okay, let's see what is happening in the browser. So we have an ID in the HTML and we have this in the CSS. As you can see, only one heading is in red color, which I wanted. Pretty simple. Question arises in an interview: what is the difference between an ID and a class? This is a very common question that you will face at some point in your developer life cycle. Well, let me put it in very, very, very simple words: the difference between class and ID. Always, always, and always remember these 2 lines. These are the difference between ID and classes. Yes, Abhijit, fantastic. You can only use an ID name just once in your whole web page, while class you can use as many times as you want. That is the only difference. Let me write it in the HTML instead of CSS. And if you note, the way to comment is different. The way of commenting is different in HTML and in CSS, if you noted, right? This is the only difference between a class and an ID. So if you are asked, please remember this. Let us assume that I do not have any ID, any class, but I still want to color this heading and only this heading in red. Thank you, Tushar. Let's assume that I do not have any ID, any class. I still want the same result, that is only this heading in red color. Well, you can very well make the use of the fact that this heading is inside a div. That this heading is inside a div. Yes, Bhuvan. So if I want red color on only this and I do not want to use IDs or classes, the way I can do that, the way I can still do that is by using what we call nesting. What I have written on line 21 or on line 17 is nesting. This is nesting. So what am I saying on line 17? I'm saying apply the color red on the H2 which is inside a div. Apply the color red on only that H2 which is inside a div. If I take a look in the HTML, there's only one H2 that fulfills this criteria. The H2 on line 16. 18, the H2s on line 18, 19 do not. So if I go into the browser, I will still have the same output. I hope you're getting my point. These are known as selectors. We can still do grouping. We haven't done grouping yet. So this was nesting. Let's say, no, you can use nesting for any tag, Tushar. Not any particular tag. You can use it for any tag whatsoever. Let's now assume that I want to have that red color not only on this H2, but on this paragraph as well. Not only on this H2, but on this paragraph as well. In that case, I can do something like this. And what I'm going to do is known as grouping. So div H2 will have color red, yes. Along with div H2, I can use a comma and the paragraph. Now this, using commas, this is known as grouping. What I'm saying on line 23, 24 is this, that apply this color red, apply all the properties on H2 inside div as well as on all the paragraphs. If I had, let's say, some LIs and I wanted red color on those, I can do this. If I had some maybe some anchor tags, so I can do this if I wanted the red color on that as well. This is known as grouping. What this will say is apply red color on all these elements on H2 inside divs, on paragraphs, on LI tags, on anchor tags. Let me show you. If I create an anchor tag, let's say, you will see this anchor tag will be in red color as well as the paragraph. Grouping. So we saw nesting, we saw grouping. Sure, Tushar. As I was leaving little assignments for you yesterday, I will do that today as well. What exactly has to be next line, Sandeep? Please elaborate. मैं समझ नहीं पाया आपकी बात. When we talk about selectors, we also talk about this greater than sign, also known as child selector. We also talk about plus. We also talk about this. Now, this is known as tilde, TILDE. No. That does not has to be on the next line, Sandeep. Okay. So what Sandeep is asking that, sorry, is it necessary? Sorry, is it necessary to have these in multiple lines? No, Sandeep. You can do this likewise as well. Yeah, Nimesh, it will be uploaded. This is also correct, and this is also correct. Yeah, so as I was saying, you have to figure out what is child selector, what is a general and a next sibling. That is, what are the uses of greater than sign in CSS, the use of plus and the use of tilde, tilde. The sign, if you do not know, is called tilde. Where you can find this on your keyboard, you can find it above the tab key, this sign. You need to figure out what these do, right? All right. This was a little on selectors. Let's talk about background and the various properties in background. So we have background HTML, background CSS. Asmil, that is different. What you are saying, template literal, that is different from tilde. Template literal is not tilde. Please don't get confused. What we use for template literal, as you are saying, is this. I am talking about this. Both are different. I hope you get that. Background. No need to explain the word background. I'm sure you must all be aware of it. Yes, but what we will study is 6 properties related to background. There is no parent selector in CSS, Sandeep. We do that in JavaScript by a property called parent element. So what I'm doing, I'm simply writing some dummy text on my page just to fill it out. There you go. I have 20 paragraphs on my page. Let me see how it looks. This is how it looks. Right? So we have some data on our page. As I said, there are 6 background properties. One, we have already discussed, background color. Oops, position, size. Background color, image, repeat, attachment, position, and size. Yes, Tushar. And the shortcut is called emmet. EMMET. What I used was emmet. This is built in into into VS Code. The shortcut that I used was this. So this thing got converted into this thing. Right? I wrote this. I pressed enter, and I got all these paragraphs. Fantastic. We have already studied about background color. We know what background color is. Let's start with background image. So I'm applying a background image on the whole of body. When we apply anything to the body, it appears on your whole page, right? Background image is always applied as a URL like this. I also have some images for us to work with today. As you can see, I have a bunch of images. Lorem is a dummy text. There is no explanation to it. It's just a gibberish text to fill up your page, Bhuvan. If you want to know the language, it's, I think, Old Latin. Background image, I already have some images now. So images folder, then concept car JPG. If I go to the browser now, can you see the image? Right, background image. Let's apply a different image. Let's try and apply this fb.png, which you can see on the left hand side. FB stands for yes, Facebook. If I go ahead now in the browser, now the image is only this much, right? It's just a square 200 by 200 image. But when I apply it on the background and when I go to the web browser, you can see the image is being copied and pasted. Control C, Control V, right? That you know, copy paste. Why is this image repeating? And how can I control it? How can I control it? Well, if you want to control this image repetition, that is what the third property does, background repeat. By default, it is set to, by default, it is set to repeat. As you already saw, because the image was smaller, so the browser copied and pasted it in both the directions so that to fill the whole page. Yes, Tushar. Yes, like tiles. Jay, fantastic. The other values for background repeat are no repeat. One is repeat, other is no repeat. Okay, let me write them. So the default value is repeat. You can have no repeat. You can have repeat X and repeat Y. Yes, X and Y are axes like in mathematics. If I set it to no repeat, what happened? Oh, it's a selector. Oh, sorry, wrong file. If I set the background repeat to no repeat, you will see the image just one time. Right? What happens when I give it the value back repeat X or repeat Y? Well, as you can guess, repeat X will repeat it only in horizontal direction like this. Repeat Y will only repeat it in the vertical direction. Repeat Y, I think you can figure out on your own. You can visualize on your own, right? What I am setting it to is no repeat. Right? Let's set it to no repeat once. Let's talk about now background attachment. Background attachment only has two values. Yes, I'm coming to that size, Rija, in 60 seconds. Background attachment. It has only two values. I will do that, Tushar. No, you cannot do with only CSS, Sandeep. Background attachment does either have value scroll or fixed. Background attachment scroll will have absolutely no effect. ये था और ऐसा ही है. Background effect scroll will have no effect. If I, however, change it to background attachment fixed, and then go to the browser. And then if I scroll my page, can you figure out what background attachment fixed did? I hope you can see what it did, right? Background attachment fixed. The background will not scroll with the page now as it was doing previously. Interesting, right, guys? Do let me know in the chat. So we have talked about background color, image, repeat attachment. Let's now talk about background position. Yes, Prabhakar, I'm going to do that with background size. Yes. Background position. Now, background position has multiple values. The default is top left. If I do not even give it the background position, or if I give it background position top left, you will see that the image will be starting from the top and left corner of my browser, as you can very well see. Background position does this. From where will the background image start? So top left, of course, the other values can be top right, bottom left, bottom right, center. Let's see, if I make it, let's say, bottom left, instead of top left, if I give it bottom left, if I go back to the browser, you can see the image now in bottom left. So very similarly, you can do it top right, you can do it top bottom right. And you can also do, yes, I'm doing center, don't worry. You can either give it values center, vertically as well as horizontally center. What it will do, it will put the background in the exact center of the page like this. Well, there is no point in writing the word center twice. So center can be done with just one center as well. Center and center. Two centers and one center. It means the same thing. Background image, background position center. So someone asked how we can center the image. This is how we can center the image. Then some of you asked, how can I apply it to the whole page? Right? Yes, it is not always, Sandeep, but in this case, it is in reference to the visible screen or the viewport. Why? Why it is very good question, by the way, Sandeep. Why is it in the reference of my visible screen, or else known as viewport? That is because I have set my background attachment to fixed. If my background attachment had the default value, okay, let me tell you. Let me show you rather. If I have background attachment and as scroll, and then if I do background position, let's say bottom left, then this bottom left will take its value from the entire height of the page like this. I hope, Sandeep, that answers your question, right? Do let me know in the chat. If you have background attachment as scroll, then top left, top right, bottom right will take reference from the entire body. If you have background attachment as fixed, then these things will take their value, will take reference from the viewport or the visible screen. Very good question, and I hope you get the answer. Gangnam, I'm going to change the width out of the background image in just 1 minute. Stay with me. Multiple questions are arising that how can I change the height and width of this background image? How can I apply it to the whole page? All of that can be done using the property background size. And let me tell you one short note here as well. This property background size was added in CSS3. All these properties were there in CSS2 as well. CSS3 is the latest version of CSS, and this was added in the CSS3 version. Of the background, Sanjay, no, we cannot reduce the opacity right now. We have properties, we haven't just studied them yet. So just to simply answer your question, not right now. Background size, as the name suggests, deals with the size of the background. By default, it is in the actual size. Now, the actual size of that photo is about 200 by 200 pixels. And that is what you are seeing on the screen. What if I want to reduce the size, and what if I want to enlarge it? Let's see. If I provide it these values, the first value will be width, the second value will be height. So what I have given, 400 by 400. Let's go to the browser. Let's see what happens. This is what will happen. Now the same image is in 400 by 400. Of course, you can provide different values for width and height as well. So if I say 300, you can see now the width is 400, height is 300. But what if I want to apply it on the whole screen? You can do that in multiple ways. I can either apply 100%, background size 100%. Can you see the F covering the whole page? Right? Yes, we can do 100% to apply it on the whole page. However, there are two other popular ways as well. Yes, Varun, very good. What we usually apply with background size are two words, two strings. We either use contain or cover. So instead of 100%, I'm going to use cover. Yes, it will crop the image. Even cover will crop the image, Sandeep. Yes, Kalpesh, that is what I am writing, cover. So as Sandeep mentioned that I want to cover the page, but I don't want the image to go out of bounds. As you can see, it is, in simple words, being cropped. Well, that is what contain does. If you want the image to not go out of bounds, then you will have to write contain. However, in contain, yes, you will always see some spaces left out. You can always see some spaces left out. Are you getting the background properties, guys? Can you give me a yes or no, thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat? Again, Sandeep, 100% will cover what will depend on the background attachment property only. Whether it will be the height and width of viewport or of the whole body, that will be defined by background attachment. Jay, what do you exactly do you want to fix? Okay. Tushar, there is no CSS only option for that. For that, you will have to crop the image in photo editing tools, Photoshop or some other. There is no CSS only option for that. No, Jay, as I mentioned, there is no CSS only option for that. You have to use Photoshop, Photopea, or any other tool, Canva maybe. How to position heading to the middle? I will do that in a minute. Sangola and Gangnam, margin and padding. That is in our agenda. Margin padding. So we will cover that as well. What if we use 1920? It will fit the page. It will fit the page, but the image will go out of bounds, Prabhakar, in that case as well. And not everyone's resolution will be 1920 by 1080, right? Yours might be 1920 1080. Let's assume mine is something else, someone else is something else. Image will, can, and does go out of bounds. That should not be a problem very much. Prabhakar, getting my point? When we talk about background or so many properties, there is something known as shorthand as well. That is, I have written 5 lines for 5 properties. If I even give it background color, I will have 6 lines for the background. Shorthand, what shorthand says is, you can have all these 6 background properties, you can write all these 6 background properties in a single line by using just background. But as always, I am leaving the shorthand for you. Don't we have overflow for background? Sandeep, we have overflow for foreground for text. We don't have overflow for, background. Yes, Jay, shorthand is for shortcuts. Exactly. Let's talk about some properties of font, some properties of border, and list together. So I'm doing these 3 together. Font, border, and list properties. Yes, Azmil, that's the plan for tomorrow. How do we reduce the page size? Sandeep, elaborate. What do you exactly mean by the page size? So what I have is a paragraph. It looks very normal on the screen right now, right? What is font? Ejaz, font is how your alphabets or numbers are displayed on the screen. That is what font is, right? Properties of font. They usually include font size. You have font family. You have font weight. Okay, that Sandeep is part of media queries. For that, you need media queries, Sandeep. Okay, how to center a heading? I will do that in a minute with text align. Image fitting page size. I hope you got the answer. Animation techniques. Yes, we are going to do that tomorrow. What are the properties of font? Rushir, I just wrote the properties of font. Font means the printed output. Yes, Arun. Fantastic. How is different between bold and strong? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Marisu SM. I explained that in yesterday's class. So we have a paragraph in the HTML. Font size is how big or small the letters and the numbers on the screen. That is font size. The default font size in HTML is 16 pixels. The default font size is 16 pixels. As you will see, no effect on the page. If I remove the 16 pixels, you will still see it in the very same way. So the default font size is 16 pixels. Of course, I can increase it, I can decrease it as well. If I make it 24, you will see the paragraph getting bigger. If I make it 8, you will not see anything, or you will see it very small. Doesn't it depend on the font type? The font size, no, Sandeep, font size is by default 16 pixels. It does not depend on the fonts, what font it is. No. So you must start a YouTube channel. Oh, Tushar, thank you. Oh, very good explanation, Sanjay and Azmil. Very good. The P is default wrap is. Sorry, Rushir, I cannot understand your question. Exactly like in Microsoft Word, Aryan, yes. When we talk about font size, when we talk about the font size in pixels, there is one thing that you must understand is that the font size can be given in two categories. The font size can be given in two ways. I'm talking about the unit, this px, pixel. There are absolute units and then there are relative units. Relative, sorry. No, Rushir, there is no default wrap in HTML. You have to use a tag when you want to wrap some text. YP, as I mentioned yesterday, it is the easiest, the simplest of the tags. Yes, very good, Arun. Absolute unit. Pixel is an absolute unit. Oops. While percentage, EM, REM, these are relative units. Let me tell you this. Relative units are much preferred over absolute units. Relative units are much more preferred in website development as over absolute units. Yes, Bharti, we can do that with Flex or with Grid, just not right now. How to mark attendance? Govardhini, you have a link in the video's description. Please check that. Font family. Now, this is an interesting feature. This is an interesting property. Azmil, that will require a little time. So I will request you to please do a little research on MDN about EM and REM. Font family decides how will the L show up, how will the OREM show up. Will they show a little tilted? Will they be exact straight? How will they show up? That is what is decided by a font family. The default family, how you are seeing the font right now. If you have worked with Microsoft Word, if you are familiar with the Word, you will recognize this name. In Windows, this is the default family, Times New Roman. If you have worked with Microsoft Word before, you must recognize this name. As you can see, there is no difference whatsoever. Yes, Ijaz, relative units are important, are preferred over absolute units. I can change this Times New Roman to Arial maybe. When I do so, you can see the paragraph being changed. Earlier, it was Times New Roman. You can spot the change. If I make it Arial, if I make it Comic Sans, you will see the text like this. If I change it to maybe, yeah, Georgia. If I change it to Georgia, you can see the text changed a little, right? Roboto and all the other fonts are not default in Windows there. I will tell you how to use Roboto, Poppins, Meriwether, and OpenSense, so on and so forth. I can use Trebuchet as well. No, we don't, Sandeep, we don't. We don't. The 3 to 4 fonts I have written right now, they are by default present in your Windows systems. As mentioned by Sandeep, how will I know that a particular font is available in the user's computer or not? We don't. That is why when we talk about font family, we use font from the internet. We use font from the internet. The most common website for font, the most popular website for font is Google Fonts. So if you Google Fonts, if you Google Fonts, you will land here, fonts.google.com. You have about 1800 different types of font. As mentioned by Jay, you have Roboto. As mentioned, you can use Roboto, you can use Kanchenjunga, this, whatever you want. Let's try and use this Roboto condensed. Difference between all the fonts, Roshir, is how your text looks, as you can see. No, there is no such font, Utpal, that is not supported by browsers. All the fonts, they have a standard system. They have a TTF and the OTF files. TTF and OTF is supported by all the browsers. So how to use this Roboto condensed? Let's say I like this Roboto condensed font. So you can click on this. You can click on this Roboto condensed. Then you have to click this get font. Right? You have to click get embed code, this one. You don't need to download the font. You can click on get embed code. Yes, you now have to copy this. Go back to your HTML. Paste it in the head section. Remember, in the head section, paste it in the head section. In the CSS, in the font family, you have to simply write Roboto condensed. That is the font name in quotes. And if you go back to the browser now, you can see the font changed. It is as simple as this. Guys, if you find it interesting, do leave a thumbs up in the chat. We have all the CSS in the CSS file, Sandeep. What I copied in the HTML, what I copy pasted in the HTML was link tag, and tags are HTML. This is what I copied, and this is not CSS, Sandeep. I hope you're getting the difference. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the encouragement. Fantastic. It's all right, Sandeep. No need to apologize. Let's also talk about font weight. Font weight simply suggests whether you want the font to, whether you want the letters to be bold or to be light, whether you want the font lighter or bolder. That is what is suggested by font weight. Sorry. Font weight takes numbers from 100 to 900. That is 100, 200, 300, 400. No in between values. You cannot write 150. It's either 100 or 200. If I write font weight 400, this is the default. Font weight 400 is the default. You will see it like it was before. If I, however, make it 900, if I make the font weight 900, you will see each and every letter in bold. So this is what font weight does. You can have the letters lighter, you can have the letters in bold. Getting this? Yeah, Sri, do you want to ask me something? Text shadow? Yeah, we will add that as mill in a moment. Text shadow. Okay, chali. On popular request, let me add text shadow. Text shadow takes 4 values: horizontal offset, vertical offset, क्या बोलते हैं, spread and the color. Yes, 4 things. Strong and bold then. Sandeep, strong and bold are were the HTML ways to make the content bold. Font weight is the CSS way to make the content bold. The outcome is the same. If you do it in HTML, you have font and strong and bold. If you do it in CSS, you have font weight. The output will be the same. So Azmil, CSS is always better, Sandeep. Azmil, this is how you can apply text shadow. You can see the text shadow. I hope you like it. Please don't ask me what all these values are. Do a quick research. You suggest the color, Azmil. I'll set it to that. If you remember, we talked about a border yesterday a little. Sorry, Ijaz, I don't know much of Urdu. Can't do that. There you go. Brown. No, Utpal, we haven't touched flex and grid right now. We talked about border yesterday. Well, border actually consists of 3 properties: border width, border style, and border color. Border width, that is how wider or narrower the border will be. I can give it, let's say, 5 pixels. Border style actually consists of 5 to 6 values. The most common being solid, dots, dashed, inset, outset, groove, something else as well. I think ridged something. You can use any one values in border style. The most common is always solid. And the color, if I do it red. There you go. You can expand the space, you can increase the space between letters, Sandeep, by using a property called letter spacing. By using a property called letter spacing. Do a quick research on that. It's a very simple property. Nikita, margin and padding are next on my agenda. Do stick around. So border, I have wrote 3 lines for border. Fair enough. I can do that in a single line as well by just using border. Border width, style, color. You will see what did these 3 lines did. The same will be with this line as well. As you can see, exactly same border. The order does not matter. You can change the order howsoever you desire. However, the one thing to note is in border, out of the 3 properties, border style is mandatory. You cannot have border without border style. If I remove the solid from this, you will see no border. Yes, Jay, it's a shorthand property. So style is mandatory. You can remove color, you will still see border. You can remove the width, you will still see border. But without style, no border. This is something you must remember. Well, you can apply border on individual sides as well. You can have border top, border left, border right, border bottom. You can have all those as well. If you write border, it will be applied on all the 4 sides. If you write border top, bottom, left, right, it will be applied on that side only. Yes, Aaron. Order can be anything. Margin and padding. On popular request, let's see margin and padding. No problem, Utpal. Let's replace it. No, Sandeep. If you apply border to a parent, it will only be applied to the parent. You can apply border to parent and child by using grouping. By using grouping, if you remember grouping from few minutes past. What do you want me to say about font units, Roshir? So what do I have here is 3 box classes, each having an heading and a paragraph. How does it look like on the screen? Something like this. Let me now apply some border on these box classes. Sandeep, Rusher, and to other people, due to time constraint, we cannot go into detail in EM, REM, and percentage. If you want an overview, here's an overview for you. I think we did it in font border. The general rule of thumb is this. The general rule of thumb or the difference between EM and REM is this. Go figure. So, as I was saying, let us apply some margin and paddings. Before that, let me apply some border on these boxes, right? Like this. Now, this is how my browser looks. What I did, I applied a border of 4 pixel on all the 3 boxes. This is 4 pixel, the border on the top, and the border at absolute bottom, this is 4 pixels. However, as you can see, this is not 4, this is not 4. This is actually 8 pixels. Why is that? Why is this one 8 and this one of 8 pixels? That is because there is no gap between the box 1 and the box 2. The space or the gap between two elements is what is known as margin. What these two boxes do not have. Margin, as mentioned, is the space between two elements. Margin is the space between two elements. If I want spaces between these two paragraphs or these 3 paragraphs rather, what I can give is margin. You can apply margin in pixel, percentage, EM, REM, whatever. If I give it a 10 pixels margin, if I go back to the browser, there you go. You can see the gap now. Margin. If margin is the gap outside the box, outside the element, or between two elements, however you want to call it, what is padding? Padding is the gap between the content and the border of the same element. Yes, Gangnam. If I apply padding of 30 pixels, this is what padding is. This and this and this and this. It does, Sandeep. It does. Margin will add gap between gap here as well as here as well. It does, Sandeep. Well, with margin and padding, the thing to note or how interview questions are formed is this. Let us assume that I have some paragraphs. So this is a paragraph. If on that paragraph, I say this, a border. There you go. If I say something like this, how questions are asked is, which padding is from top, which is from bottom, from left and right. What is 5 pixel? From where is 5 pixel applied? From where is left 6, 7 and 8 applied? Well, in this case, you actually follow the clock in clockwise direction. That is 5 is from top, 6 is from right, 7 is from bottom and 8 is from top. Yes, Gangnam. However, things become interesting if I have something like this only. So the same question now arises, what is padding top, what is padding bottom, what is padding left, what is padding right? if you only have three values. If you only have three values, this is how it goes. If you only have three values, 5 will be from top, 8 will be from bottom, and the middle value will be applied to both left and right. The middle value will be applied to both left and right. That is, right now, right now, 5 is from top, 8 is from bottom, and 7 is from left and right. If you only have two values, if you only have two values, well, in that case, the first value is applied from both top and bottom, and the second value is applied from both left and right hand side. I hope you're getting this. This is important. And if you only have just one value, let's say if I only have 10 pixels, well, that is simple. Padding left is 10, padding right is 10, padding bottom is 10, padding top is 10. If you only have a single value, it is applied from all the four sides. This exactly same goes for margin as well. The same thing goes for margin as well. In the beginning, someone asked the question, how can I center a heading? Right? Gangnam, please ask Let's Upgrade to increase the time. I definitely will. So what I have a div which has a heading and paragraph. So what I want is, right now you will see the heading in the left hand side because everything starts from the left hand side by default. I want the heading in the center. I can very well do that using a property called text align. By default, everything starts from left hand side. Even if I write text align left, even if I do not, you will see the heading starting from left. Yes, if I write text align right, it will start from the right hand side. You can check that as well. But if I write text align center, that is how you can get headings in the center of the div, in the center of the screen. I hope whosoever asked this question, it answers your query. You also have, however, a text align justify. We use text align justify for bigger texts. We don't use that on headings. What exactly it does, let me show you. So I have a bigger paragraph. In the middle of the page, Jay, that will come from position. If I have a bigger paragraph, this is how it looks right now. You can see on the left hand side, yes, all the characters are starting in the same line. All the characters are symmetrically arranged. That is not the case on the right hand side. If you want the all the characters to be symmetrical on the right hand side, then we use text align justify. Text align justify will do this. Now you can see both the sides are symmetrical. No, Asmil, we cannot put middle left, middle right, something like this in text align. Text align only works horizontally. So there is no vertical section. On the heading, what if I wanted all the 5 letters I, N, D, I, A in capital? You can very well do that using text transform, uppercase. Text transform uppercase will change all the letters in uppercase. Similarly, text transform lowercase will change all the letters in smaller case. Text transform capitalize will make the first letter in capital, rest all in small. It's as simple as that. Sandeep, for right to left languages, we use a property called text direction. And we set it to RTL. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Let's discuss a little about flex as well. There are few properties, opacity and visibility. I'll share with you those tomorrow. Let's talk about flex, as many of you are asking for it. So what do I have? I have 3 boxes with heading, paragraph, heading, paragraph. Gangnam, we have only so much time. There is only so much we can do in that 1.5 hours. Don't worry, we will study pseudo classes tomorrow. Nothing will be left. Enjoy what is going on right now, right? Flex is used to arrange content, to align content on your web page. Flex is used to align or arrange content on your web page. Well, flex and grid both are used for the same thing. The simplest definition of flex can be this. Nikita, a div can be a container, a section can be a container. A container is an element that contains some other elements. It's nothing else than that. You might have to explain whether you are asking about Bootstrap's container, Tailwind container, or something else. So what do I have? I have this. Let's apply border on the boxes. Yes, Sandeep. So we have border. Right now, the boxes are vertical in nature. What I want the boxes to be horizontal. I hope you understand vertical and horizontal. So right now they are vertical. I want them horizontal. This can be done by flex. The flex can also do the reverse. If the boxes were horizontal in nature and I wanted them vertical, you can do that with flex as well. So flex is used in such conditions when you want to arrange content, when you want to align content as per your need. I want to arrange these boxes. right? One important thing that I forgot to mention. Hmm. Flex as well as grid is always applied on the page when you want the children to be affected. What I want is I want these three boxes to be arranged horizontal, or if I wanted them to be vertical, I will apply flex not on these boxes but on their parent element. I will apply flex on their parent element. Well, right now I don't have a parent for these elements. Let me apply a parent or a container. Someone asked what is a container. Well, this is a container for you. This is how a container looks. Sandeep, CSS cannot modify the DOM. Flex will be applied on this and the effects will be visible on these. Right? Let me apply flex on the boxes container. You can apply flex by using display flex. It's as simple as that. Indranil, do not spam. I read your comment the very first time. Please do not spam. Display flex, what it will do, as soon as I applied display flex, what you saw that the elements went from vertical to horizontal. The elements went from vertical to horizontal. Why? Well, that is because of a property flex direction in working. Flex direction has a default value of row. You can set it to column, you can set it to row reverse, you can set it to column reverse. Reverse. The default value of flex direction is row. As soon as you apply display flex, flex direction row is also applied. That is why they are horizontal in nature. If I apply flex direction column, they will be again vertical as they were originally. The interesting things with flex direction are row reverse and column reverse. So right now, what you are seeing is box 1, 2, 3 from left and right. Box 1, box 2, box 3. If I do a row reverse, can you see box 1, 2, 3 now from the right hand side? Row reverse. So flex direction column, as you know, will make them vertical, right? If I make flex column reverse, you will see 3, 2, 1 instead of 1, 2, 3. Flex direction. Getting this? It's a very interesting property, and we use this generally with media queries. No, Sandeep. We'll talk about flex wrap a little later, Gangam. If I remove the flex direction, it will be automatically set to row because that is the default value, right? Right now, all the three boxes are stick together. As you can see, there is no gap between them. I want some gap between those boxes, right? These two are the actual powerhouse in Flex: justify content and align items. These two are the powerhouses. Then there is gap as well. But let's first discuss these. This is what I have right now. If I apply justify content, the default value is flex start. Justify content default has flex start. As you can see, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Justify content has 5 to 6 values: flex start, flex end, center, space between, space evenly, space around. If I apply, as someone is mentioning, space evenly, right now you will see nothing is happening. Right now you will see nothing is happening. Why? For justify content and for align items to work, we need width. We need width. Let me go ahead. Let me apply some width on all the 3 boxes. Let's say all the 3 boxes have a 30% of width. All the 3 boxes have 30% of width. Now justify content and align items will show their effect. Let me go over them one by one. The default was flex start. As you can see, all the 3 boxes are on the left hand side. All the 3 boxes on the left hand side. Flex end will be the exact opposite. All the 3 boxes on the right hand side. On the right hand side. Oops. If I apply a space between, space between will say make the boxes on the edges, throw the boxes on the edges and put all the space in between. You will understand space between with the help of 2 boxes better. You will understand it with the help of 2 boxes better. For the time being, let me comment out the third one. This will help you understand space between better. All the space in between the contents, the box is on the edges. That is space between. Space around will say this. Space will be on all the 4 sides around the boxes. Space will not be equal. As you can see, the spacing is not equal on both the sides, but you have space. The difference in space around and space between, space evenly, is only this. Space around, you might have equal space or you might not, while space evenly will always give you equal spaces on both sides of the boxes. That is an interview question for you. The difference between space evenly and space around. Yes, Sandeep, justify content works horizontally only. If you want vertical, that is align items job. The difference between justify content and align items: justify content works horizontally while align items work vertically. Oops. Flex start gave you this. Let's do it like way as Utpal is suggesting. Flex end will give you this. If you give it space between, you will have this. Space around will give you this. this is spaced evenly. As you can see, I have given background color and height to the parent element. Let's talk about align items. So justify content worked in the horizontal direction. In the x-axis, align items works vertically. The default value is stretch. What happens in stretch? As you can see, both the boxes have stretched to 500 pixels. Both the boxes have stretched to cover the whole parent. This is align item stretch. This is align items stretch. If I give it a flex start, you will see both the boxes are on the top. Flex end will take both the boxes to the bottom border. Flex end will take both the boxes to the bottom border. Something like this. Center is what we use most of the times, and as you can guess, it will take the boxes in the exact center of this parent box container. A brief on what flex is, what is justify content, what is align items. I hope you like this. Tables, list style, transition, pseudo classes, in detail flex, animation, transition. We will discuss all these in the tomorrow class. I hope you join this. Okay, can you move the webcam from bottom? Rushir, I'll tell the people at LetsUpgrade, they can do it for tomorrow's class. Since flex affects the children, why it is text not aligning accordingly? Why is the text not aligning accordingly? Which text is not aligning accordingly, Sandeep? Please elaborate. Media queries kal hi ho paegi Gangnam. They will be covered tomorrow only, not today. The time is already over, Utpal. Lorem ipsum is adapting to the parent, Sandeep. How can you say it is not adapting? Yes, Rushir, justify content horizontal, align items vertical. That is how it is. Well, that will be all for today's class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will join tomorrow as well for more interesting things, for more advanced topics, transition, transform, animation, media queries, right? That will be all for today from my side. We will try and have a complete layout tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.